Read slowly, this is your hook. Some questions arrive like thunder. Loud crashing, impossible to ignore. But the question that changed my entire life did not arrive like thunder. It arrived like a whisper, soft, quiet, in the middle of the night from the one person I never expected. My little brother
This is
asked
really
me
good.
one simple thing.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And in that single
Glad you're
moment,
here.
everything I had been hiding for 15 years came apart, slowly, gently, like a fist finally opening. My name is Elias. I am 31 years old. I live in Chicago. I have a good job, decent friends, a clean apartment. From the outside, my life looked completely normal. But inside, I had been carrying a secret so heavy it had shaped every decision I ever made. Who I let close, who I pushed away, what I allowed myself to feel, and what I buried before it could breathe. This is the story of the night my younger brother Ramai cracked that secret wide open with 4 small words. And what happened after that night led me straight to the greatest love of my life. If you have ever hidden a piece of yourself from the people you love most, this story is for you. Stay with me, it gets
I know
better,
it's
I
been hard,
promise.
but you're
The
not alone
drive
in
from
this.
Chicago to our old
We'll get through
family
it
home
together.
in Millfield, Ohio takes exactly 6
Wait,
hours and
you're
20
kidding?
minutes.
That's
I
hilarious.
know
Oh
this because
man,
I had
wow.
made that drive many
I
times,
feel like we're
always
finally
for
getting
the same
somewhere.
reasons.
Me
A
too.
holiday,
This is what
a
I've wanted.
funeral, or a
Good.
moment when my little brother called me in a voice that was trying very hard to sound casual and failing. This time, Ramai had called on a Tuesday night. He said nothing was wrong. He just said quietly, "Can you come this weekend? I want to see you." Something in his voice made me pack a bag the next morning without asking any questions. Ramai was 23, I was 31, 8 years between us. When we were children, that gap felt like a canyon. He was the little kid who followed me everywhere. I was the older brother who pretended to find this annoying while secretly loving every second of it. Our mother passed away 3 years ago. After that, Ramai stayed in the family house. I stayed in Chicago. We called every few weeks. We texted each other funny videos. We said "I love you" at the end of phone calls in the
We need to
easy,
talk about what
automatic way
happened.
people do when they do
This
not know
can't
how
wait.
else to hold
It's
the
too
distance
important.
between them. I pulled
For the
into the
first time, I'm
driveway
speaking
just
my
after
truth.
sunset.
It's raw,
The
but it's
old
honest.
house looked
I've been
exactly the
holding this in
same,
for too long.
porch light on, the big oak tree in the front yard blazing gold and red with autumn color. Ramai was sitting on the porch steps, green flannel jacket, the one I had given him 4 Christmases ago. He raised one hand slowly when my headlights hit him. A quiet hello. "You didn't have to come," he said when I climbed the steps. "Yes, I did," I said. He nodded. We both knew that was true.
This place
We
has
made
the best
pasta that
ambiance.
evening.
Absolutely.
We watched a
The wine
documentary
is
about
perfect.
ocean life
It's a
that
good
neither of
company.
us really followed.
I've been thinking
We
about
talked
what you
about
said.
small things.
It's not easy,
His
but I want
teaching
to be
job
honest.
at the community
I appreciate
college
you
where he was
listening.
now running an art history course. His morning runs, a road trip he had taken earlier that year with someone named Marcus. I noticed something when he said the name Marcus. His voice got warmer, softer at the edges.
Beautiful night.
The way a
Yeah,
person's
the lights are
voice
perfect.
changes when they are
It
trying very
feels good.
hard not to
It does.
smile, and the smile is winning anyway. I did not ask about Marcus, not yet. I had my own walls up. I was not ready to start opening doors. It was past midnight when the documentary ended and neither of us moved to turn off the television. The blue screen light filled the room. Outside, the wind moved through the oak
Look at
tree
this
and
one.
made a sound like
Wow,
slow
that's beautiful.
breathing.
I knew you'd like it.
Yeah.
This series
I
captures the
looked at
quiet
him.
beauty
He
of
was
everyday
staring at his
moments.
hands
They're
in his
wonderful.
lap,
The light is
turning them
so
over
evocative.
slowly.
Thank you.
The
That was the
exact
goal.
thing he used to do as a kid when he was working up the courage to say something difficult. "Can I ask you something?" he
Hey,
said.
it's
"And I
beautiful
need you
out
to be
here.
really honest,
I
not
wish you
older
could
brother
see this.
honest, actually honest." My heart did something strange, a sudden lurch like missing a step in the dark. "Of course," I said. He looked up, his dark eyes met mine, steady, serious, full of a care so open it had nowhere to hide. "Are you gay?" 3 words. The room did not change. The television kept glowing. The wind kept moving through the tree, but inside me, something enormous and very old went completely, absolutely still. I had been carrying that word gay in a locked room inside myself for 15 years. I built that room when I was 16 and understood with a quiet and terrible clarity what I felt for my best friend was not friendship. I kept the door locked through high school, through college, through my entire 20s. I had dated women twice, felt nothing real either time. I had met men who made my chest feel like it was full of sunlight, and I had walked in the opposite direction every single time, quickly and without looking back. I told myself I was private. I told myself there was no rush. I told myself it was complicated and the world was not always safe and I was protecting myself. All of that was true, and underneath all of it was something simpler and more painful. I was afraid. Now my little brother who I had read dragon stories to, who I had driven to his first day of high school, who had called me crying from his college dorm at 2
This
in the
is really
morning
good.
just because he felt
Yeah, it's
alone,
perfect.
was sitting
Glad you're
across
here.
from me with no judgment anywhere on his face. And he had asked me the one question I had spent 15 years making sure no one would ask. The usual response was right there, ready to go, a laugh, a subject change, a "what made you think that?" But I looked at his face, the love in it, the patience, the complete safety of it. And something in me, something very tired and very old, put down everything it had been carrying. "Yes," I said. One syllable, barely a sound. But it filled the room like the first breath after being underwater for a very long time. Rimai nodded slowly. Then he moved across the couch and put his hand over mine, the exact way he used to when he was small and scared in the night and needed his older brother close. "I know," he said quietly. "I've known for
I
a
know it's
long
been
time.
hard,
I just wanted you
but
to
you're not
know that
alone
I
in
love
this.
you exactly the
We'll
same."
get through it together.
Exactly. Nothing changes. Nothing ever needed to change.
Wait, you're kidding.
I did not cry.
That's
I had
hilarious.
never been a
Oh
person who
man,
cries
wow.
easily.
I
But I
feel
held
like
his
we're
hand
finally getting
tightly, and I
somewhere.
could not
Me
speak for a
too.
while,
This is what
and
I've
the
wanted.
room was full of the
Good.
kind of silence that does not need anything added to it. When I found my voice, I said, "Marcus." Rimai laughed, a real laugh, surprised and full. "Yeah, Marcus, I wanted to tell you about him, but I didn't know how to bring it up without making everything weird." "How long?" I asked. 8 months, he said, and the warmth in his voice when he said it was the most honest sound I had heard in years. "Tell me about him," I said. And we talked until the sun came up through the kitchen window. The oak tree turned gold in the early light, and for the first time in 15 years, I was not carrying anything alone. And I had spent 22 months being very, very careful to stay away from him. We had met at a gallery opening in Chicago on a cold Friday night in November, almost 2 years
We need
before
to
the
talk
night
about what
Rimai
happened.
asked his question.
This
I
can't
was
wait.
there for a
It's too
client.
important.
Daniel was there because one of his
For the first time, I'm
photographs was
speaking my
hanging on the
truth.
wall.
It's raw, but it's honest.
He was a photographer,
I've been holding this in for
Korean-American,
too long.
34 years old, with an easy, unhurried way of moving through a room that said he was comfortable taking up space without needing anyone to notice. He had a laugh that was too loud for the quiet gallery and did not seem to care even slightly. When I talked, he tilted his head a little, like he was genuinely interested in the rhythm of what I was saying, not just waiting for his turn. We talked for 3 hours that night. We went for late-night noodles at a small place 2 blocks away. We stood on the sidewalk afterward in the cold for 20 minutes.
This place has the
Neither
best
of us ready to
ambiance.
say goodnight.
Absolutely.
Both of us saying it
The wine is
anyway, because
perfect.
what else do you do
It's a
when
good
you're
company.
standing next to someone who makes your
I've been
entire
thinking about what
nervous
you
system
said.
pay attention,
It's not easy,
and you
but I
are
want to be
absolutely
honest.
not ready to
I
deal with
appreciate
that?
you listening.
He texted the next morning, "Best conversation I've had in months. Also, the noodles were excellent, also hi." I stared at my phone until the screen timed out. We became friends. That was the story I told myself.
Beautiful night.
Friends, coffee
Yeah, the lights
every
are
couple
perfect.
of weeks at a place
It
on Michigan
feels
Avenue
good.
with good
It
light
does.
and better espresso. His work events, my work events. He showed me his photographs, wide open landscapes that somehow had feelings inside them that made you feel like the land itself was trying to say something. I showed him my design work, and he looked at it with real, focused attention and said things that were so precisely right they made me feel uncomfortable.
Look at this one.
And wonderfully
Wow,
numb.
that's beautiful.
9
I
months
knew you'd
in,
like
over
it.
dinner at a Thai restaurant, he
This series
said,
captures the
"Elias,
quiet beauty
can I
of
say
everyday
something
moments.
honest?"
They're wonderful. The light
Of
is
course,
so
I
evocative.
said, every
Thank you.
alarm
That
in me
was the goal.
fired at once. "I like you," he said, simply, directly, the way Daniel did everything. "I've been trying
it's
not to for a
beautiful
while
out
because
here.
I genuinely cannot
wish you
figure
could
out
see
what you
this.
want, and I don't want to make things strange between us, but I think saying it is better than just carrying it around." I looked at him across the table, the openness in his face, the slight tension around his eyes that told me clearly this had cost him something to say. And I felt a wave so large it had no visible shore. "Daniel," I said, "I think you are one of the best people I have ever known, and I'm just not in a place right now where I can." I let the sentence stop there, unfinished rather than honest. He nodded. He was kind about it. He was always kind. He said he understood completely and that we were fine, and we finished the meal and split the bill, and he hugged me goodbye. I walked to my car. I sat in the dark for 10 minutes, not moving, not thinking, not knowing what I felt, and not letting myself find out. Then over the months that followed, I did what I had always done. I created distance. Slowly, carefully, so it did not look like running, longer gaps between texts. Invitations declined and blamed on work. Until Daniel Park had become, quietly and by design, someone I used to be close to, a friendship that had simply drifted. Nothing dramatic. These things happen. I believed that story completely. Until the night Ramai asked 4 words and made it impossible to believe anymore. 3 weeks after that porch conversation on a Tuesday morning in Chicago, I was walking down Michigan Avenue toward a client meeting. Cold air, busy streets, my mind on a presentation I had to give in 40 minutes.
This is really good. Yeah,
Then
it's
I
perfect.
looked through the window of
Glad
the
you're
coffee
here.
shop where Daniel and I used to meet. He was in the window seat, one hand around a mug, the other moving as he talked with someone across from him. He was laughing, head tilted back slightly, and the morning light through the glass was hitting him at an angle that made everything look more vivid than it had any right to be. He had not seen me. I could walk on. I was extremely good at walking on. I stood on the sidewalk while the city moved around me, and I thought about Ramai's hand over mine in the lamplight. I thought about one word I had finally said out loud after 15 years. I thought about 22 months of careful, deliberate distance and what it had cost both of us. Daniel looked up. Our eyes met through the glass. He went very still just for a second. Something moved across his face, something I could
I know
not
it's been
fully
hard,
read from where I
but
was
you're
standing.
not alone in this.
Then he raised his
We'll get through
hand,
it together.
palm open, quiet. I pushed open the door.
Wait, you're
He met me near the
kidding. That's
counter.
hilarious.
Up close,
Oh
he
man,
looked good.
wow.
He also looked careful.
I feel
and
like we're
understood
finally
that
getting
completely.
somewhere.
I had
Me
given
too.
him every
This is what I've
reason to
wanted.
be careful.
Good.
Hey, he said. Hey, do you have a few minutes? I need to say something to you. He looked at me. My next meeting is in 45 minutes. That's more than enough time, I said. Something shifted in his expression. Not hope, he was too careful for hope yet, but willingness. He nodded toward a small table in the corner. We sat down. I looked at my hands for one moment, then I looked at him. I'm gay, I said. I have known for a long time, a very long time, and I spent years not saying it to anyone, not even really to myself. When you told me how you felt at that dinner, I didn't pull away because I didn't feel the same. I pulled away because I did, and I was not ready, and that is the honest answer, and I am sorry. You deserve truth, and I gave you silence, and I have thought about that more than you know. The coffee shop kept moving around us. A machine hissed. Someone laughed near the door.
We need to talk about
Daniel was
what
quiet
happened.
for a long moment.
This can't
Then
wait.
he let out
It's
a
too
slow
important.
breath, and the careful expression on
For
his
the first
face
time, I'm
softened
speaking
into
my
something
truth.
warmer.
It's raw, but it's honest.
Thank you, he
I've
said,
been holding
low
this
and
in for
real.
too long.
I mean that. I know what it takes to say that. I should have said it sooner. You said it now, he said. That matters. We looked at each other across the small table in the coffee shop where we used to sit every other week, and something quiet and fragile and completely real was between us, something I had almost left standing outside on the sidewalk. Can we start again? I asked. Not from where we stopped, just from right here, from
This place has the best ambiance.
He looked at me for a
Absolutely.
long moment.
The wine is perfect.
Then he said, yeah, I
It's a
think
good
we
company.
can do that.
I've
And
been
for the
thinking
first
about what
time
you
in
said.
2 years, I
It's
stopped
not easy,
running.
but I want to be honest.
Setting Chicago
appreciate
and
you
Wisconsin,
listening.
6 months later, words. There is a specific kind of first date that happens between two people who already know each other well. It is quieter than a regular first date. There is less performance in it. No rehearsed
Beautiful night.
stories, no
Yeah, the lights are
strategic
perfect.
reveals.
It
The
feels
work of
good.
figuring
It
out
does.
who the other person is has already been done in 100 coffee shop conversations and late-night gallery walks and small moments where someone says exactly the right thing without trying. What you are doing instead is giving each other permission. Permission to look directly. Permission to let the warmth that was always there between you
Look at
exist
this
out
one.
in the open,
Wow,
without
that's
the
beautiful.
careful,
I
exhausting
knew you'd like
structure
it.
of denial you had both
This
been
series
holding up.
captures the quiet beauty of everyday
Daniel chose a
moments.
small
They're wonderful.
Italian
The light is
restaurant
so
in West
evocative.
Loop.
Thank you.
Warm
That was the
lighting,
goal.
dark wood, a menu with 8 things on it, all of them excellent. He was already seated when I arrived, and he stood up when he saw me come
Hey,
in,
it's
a
beautiful
small,
out
easy
here.
gesture, and something
I
about
wish
it
you
made
could
me
see
feel
this.
completely calm for the first time in days. You look good, he said. So do you, I said. It was not enough of a word for it. We ordered wine, we talked. It was easy mostly. But I want to be honest with you because this is a true story and true stories have their difficult moments too. Somewhere between the first course and the second, a pause opened between us, the kind of pause that carries weight, and I said, "Can I ask you something?" "Always," he said. "Were you angry when I pulled away?" He thought about it carefully. Daniel always thought carefully. It was one of the first things I had noticed about him and one of the things I loved most. "I was sad," he said. "More sad than angry. I kept going back over our conversations wondering if I had missed something, if I had read you wrong, if I had pushed too soon. It took me a while to stop doing that." "You did not read me wrong," I said. "You read me exactly right. That was the problem." He smiled a little, small and real. "The classic gay experience," he said quietly, "being seen before you are ready to be seen." "Is that something that happened to you before? Are you asking about my past?" "I think I am, yes." He was quiet a moment. "I came out at 20, he said. "It felt late to me at the time, now it seems very young. My father needed time, he is from a generation and a background where this was simply not spoken about. We are close now, but for 2 years things were hard and I had to build my support almost completely from scratch.
This
From
is really
friends,
good.
from community, from
Yeah, it's
chosen
perfect.
family. That
Glad you're
experience
here.
taught me not to take honesty for granted. I know exactly what it costs and I know what it gives back." I thought about those 2 years, building yourself from whatever you have left when the familiar walls fall away, finding your way home by a light you made yourself. "I'm sorry that was hard," I said. "Don't be," he said. "It made me who I am and I like who I am." "So do I said, completely meaning it. We walked after dinner even though it was cold, along the river, slow, no particular direction. The city glittered all around us. Our breath made small white clouds in the dark air. Somewhere along the way, naturally, without discussion, his hand found mine. We kissed for the first time on the bridge over the Chicago River. The city bright around us, the water moving dark below, the wind
I know it's
sharp
been
and
hard,
cold against
but
our
you're
faces.
not alone in this.
And I noticed none of
We'll
it
get
because
through it
I was
together.
completely present in that moment, more present than
Wait,
I had been in anything
you're
for
kidding.
years.
That's hilarious.
When we
Oh
pulled
man,
back, we looked
wow.
at each other.
I feel
"Hi," he
like we're
said.
finally getting somewhere.
"Hi," I said.
Me too. This
We
is what
both
I've
laughed
wanted.
at exactly the
Good.
same second, which felt like the only right thing to do. The months that followed were not perfect. I want to say that clearly because perfect is not honest. Coming out is not a single moment. It is a process, a long, ongoing series of small and sometimes large acts of courage that do not end after the first time you say the word. There were conversations I needed to have with people in my life, colleagues, old friends, parts of myself that had been in hiding for so long that openness felt, on some days, like stepping outside in winter with no coat. Daniel was steady through all of it. He did not push me faster than I was ready to move. He did not treat me like I was fragile or behind schedule. He simply stayed beside me, warm and present, and trusted me to find my own pace. On the hard evenings, when I was quiet and closed in a way I could not fully explain,
We
he
need
would
to
give
talk
me
about what
space.
happened.
And an hour later,
This
I would
can't
find
wait.
him in his
It's too
kitchen
important.
making tea, and he would hand me a cup
For the
without
first time,
saying
I'm speaking my
anything, and it
truth.
would be
It's
exactly
raw,
what
but it's
I needed.
honest. I've been
On the
holding
good
this in for
evenings,
too
which were
long.
most of them, we cooked together in his small apartment crowded with camera bags and stacked art books. We went to gallery shows, and I stood next to him while strangers looked at his photographs on the wall, and I felt proud in a way that was completely new to me. We went to his friends' dinners, where I was absorbed into the group with such easy warmth that it caught me off guard every time. One weekend in spring, we drove to a small cabin in Wisconsin. 2 days walking through forests just turning green
This
after
place
the
has the
long
best
winter.
ambiance.
Long conversations
Absolutely.
that
The wine
started
is
about
perfect.
one thing and
It's a
ended
good
somewhere
company.
completely different.
I've been thinking
Meals
about what
that
you
took
said.
3 times
It's not
longer than
easy,
they
but I wanna
needed
be
to
honest.
because we kept
I
pausing
appreciate
to
you
talk.
listening.
On the second evening, I sat on the cabin porch while Daniel was inside cooking, something that involved what I can only describe as an extremely confident amount of garlic, and I called Ramai. "How
Beautiful
is it?"
night.
he said immediately.
Yeah, the lights are perfect.
He already knew where
It
I was.
feels good.
He knew who
It
I
does.
was with. He had met Daniel on a video call 2 months earlier and sent me a thumbs up emoji afterward that he absolutely thought was subtle. "Really good," I said. "Actually genuinely really good." I heard him smiling through the phone. "You sound different, you sound like yourself." "What did I sound like before?" A pause,
Look at
then
this one.
gently, like someone
Wow, that's
working very
beautiful.
hard to seem
I
fine.
knew you'd like it.
I sat with that.
This series
Trees in front
captures
of
the quiet
cabin
beauty
were
of everyday
catching the
moments.
last gold
They're
of the
wonderful. The
evening
light
sun.
is so evocative.
"Yeah,"
Thank you.
I said,
That was the
"that's
goal."
about right." We talked a little longer. He told me about Marcus building a life with him, slowly and happily, I
Hey,
told
it's
him about
beautiful
Daniel,
out
not a
here.
lot, just enough.
I wish you
The
could
way you
see
tell
this.
someone about something precious carefully, like it matters because it does. Before we hung up, I said, Ramai, thank you for that night for asking. He was quiet for a second, then, you would have gotten there, I just opened a window. It was the right window, I said. Daniel came out onto the porch a few minutes later, 2 glasses of wine. He sat beside me on the old wooden bench and handed me one and looked out at the same trees. Your brother, he asked. Yeah. We sat in the quiet for a moment. What are you thinking about, he asked. How strange it is, I said, to feel like you fit somewhere. I don't think I ever had that before. The feeling that the shape of your life matches the shape of who you actually are. He was quiet, then my grandmother has a saying, she is 91. Still beats everyone at cards, and she says, the door you stand in front of the longest is always the one you were meant to open. I thought about that door, the one I had stood in front of for 15 years, the word, the truth, the part of myself I had kept locked away, thinking I was protecting something, when really I was only hurting the one person I could never escape, myself. I want to meet her one day, I said. She would like you, he said. She respects people who are honest. She says it is the rarest quality. He turned toward me in the last of the light, his face completely open, no performance, no distance, just Daniel entirely
This is
fully
really good.
himself.
Yeah, it's
I'm
perfect.
glad you walked into
Glad
the
you're
coffee
here.
shop that morning, he said. I almost didn't, I said. I know, I watched you standing on the sidewalk for about 30 seconds. I was hopping very hard. Something inside my chest was warm and still, not like weather anymore, not something moving through me that I had to brace against, something settled, something that fit. I'm glad to, I said. The light went slowly, the stars came out one by one over the Wisconsin trees. We sat together and neither of us spoke for a long time. We did not need to. One question, that is all it was. One question asked quietly by a younger brother who loved me enough to ask it, who loved me enough to already know the answer, who just wanted me to know the answer was safe with him. I think about that night often, about the courage it took
I know
for
it's been
Ramai to
hard,
ask,
but
because
you're
it was
not alone in
courage.
this.
Asking someone a
We'll get through
question
it
they are
together.
not ready for is its own kind of love. You are
Wait,
risking something to
you're
offer
kidding.
something.
That's
That is
hilarious.
love in one of
Oh
its
man,
purest and
wow.
most functional form.
I feel like we're finally
To
getting
anyone
somewhere.
reading or
Me too.
listening
This is
who
what
is
I've
still
wanted.
standing in front of
Good.
their own locked door. The truth of who you are wants to be known. It has gravity. It cannot be perfectly hidden forever. And the people who truly love you can often feel it even when you are working hard to keep it from them. And sometimes, if you are lucky, one of them will simply ask. Ramai is getting married this spring. To Marcus, a landscape architect from New Orleans, quiet and funny and steady, who loves my brother with a specific, focused attention that makes everyone in the room believe in love just from watching them together. I am going to be Ramai's best man. I did not cry when he asked me, not at all. Daniel will be there with me. He will bring his camera because he always brings his camera. And he will take photographs that somehow capture not just how things looked but how they felt, which is the rarest and most honest
We
kind
need
of
to talk
art.
about what happened.
I will hold Daniel's
can't
hand that
wait.
day,
It's
in
too
front of
important.
everyone, not hiding a single thing.
For the first time, I'm speaking
That
my
is a
truth.
life I almost
It's raw,
did not
but it's
allow
honest.
myself to have.
I've been holding this in for
I
too
am
long.
grateful every single day that someone loved me enough to ask.